respond to them. Make sure that you're responding to every single question that gets asked. Even if you don't know the answer, just say I don't know, and let me see if I can find out. That's really, they're like, oh cool, oh thanks, just throwing that out there.
And if you want to wow them, if it is in a different language, use Babbel, translate it, and send them back in their same language. I had someone in Dutch go, you speak Dutch too.
And you said no, but Babbel does. Now,
exactly.
I've never tried that.
Unfortunately, those translation tools are not perfect, and I'll save my my textbook examples of how Babelfish is maybe not always 100% accurate, not necessarily the best way. The lower mezzanine has a question over here.
Hi, Lawrence Koenig, Radio 6. Thanks for the shout out, Frank. But aside from that, Scott Monty of Ford has done a great job of evangelizing social media throughout the enterprise, even getting to the point of having CEO Alan Mullally, a Seattle and Mercer Island resident, by the way, tweet, do videos, and even respond to tweets via the phone. So for the three big enterprise speakers up here, I'm curious how you can get social media supported by management, and will we see, Howard Schultz, Bill Ayers, and Brian Roberts, etc., tweeting and blogging, out there?
Well, first of all, I can pull up an email where he sent it to me last week going, I need to get you up here and show me this. Actually, I will tell you right now, numerous people in our organization are utilizing more of the search capabilities and being able to listen real time. Are we going to see them all actively tweet? No, because let's face facts. Twitter is not for everybody. Twitter is a very specific channel. We all embrace it. We love it. There are other people who go to it that don't. So my biggest thing is, if it's something they would love, great, get them there. But if it's not, don't force them to be there.
Now, Maria, I know you're a privately held company, whereas the other three are public companies. How might that be different? Do you feel like you get more or less management support because of the fact that you're a public or a private company? Excuse me.
Well, I think we made a little mistake when we actually launched our social media program, because we didn't.
You're among friends.
Do a great job of telling the entire company about it, but that was sort of intentional. And then that blew up in our face, and we got called upstairs. We're a mom and pop company, and we talked to mom and pop about it, and it definitely was scary. We had an employee that we had hired, and wasn't real happy because they were let go, and we have a place on our web where it says what they're saying, and you can go into the serials and you can talk about them, or and we let you immediately upload. It's basically Twitter, but in the serials section or in the product section. And people can write anything they want, and we monitor it, but we don't turn you off, we don't censor you, we don't tell you not to reply, we respond to you, it's great market research, it's been amazing, we've learned tons about different product reformulations and things through our customers by simply listening, but it does have its problems. And we immediately took the comment down, and the management team kind of freaked out. They got really cold feet. And, we worked around that, and we talked about a lot of the things that we've been able to do, too, is really identify a lot of crisis management issues. Our customers are looking out for us. They don't want us to get in trouble. They don't want to see the brand hurt. They don't want to see the family in any way, bad named or anything like that. And so we've got all these wonderful ambassadors and evangelists looking out for us. And when we do something wrong, we fess up. We screwed up. We reformulated an Optimum product, for example, and we had a lot of complaints, and we're in the process of fixing that. They didn't like the reformulation, so we got plenty of feedback. We didn't have to hire a research company. It's pretty good when you don't have to do that. You've got your customers telling you exactly what they think.
Elliot would say that's a gift. And I think you just said, let me make sure I understood this right. You said that I can go on your website and talk to my cereal?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, I do
you can
that
have a relationship with your cereal.
Maria, I do that every morning, and I get some strange looks, let me tell you.
I'm sure you do.
I want everyone to know here we're all friends. I want you to know that the fact that I talked to my cereal, Maria said it was okay. Jairus had a question up here in the front row. Thank you for that, Maria.
I have a question about handling a high-profile person that you're going to be building a community around. Because of the DDoS attacks, which were politically motivated, we're actually working with the Mind and Life Institute, who's bringing the Dalai Lama to Washington, D.C. for a conference in October. And we're doing and we're very concerned because of the DDoS situation about how to properly manage our community response in all of our channels around that particular individual. Do you have any suggestions about what do you do in a crisis situation if you were to be faced with a crisis of some varietal?
Elliot, you've worked with Crisis. I know you. Your Twitter account got its wings, I think, if I could use another pun, during the Alaska volcano. You want to talk about that for a second?
Yeah, actually, I was going to tag on to her crisis communication. I think that's probably the best reason why you want to be in these channels, because you're a credible source of information, and you can actually set the story straight a lot faster than you would if you were clamoring for, like, we're here, you know, we're trying to tell you what's the right thing. Right now, we did have the volcano, and it was very helpful and helped us we were able to get the word out very quickly. And 140 characters is a lot easier to approve among the, company operatives than a whole press release. And we were able to do that on a, somewhat frequent basis for the customers because the conditions were changing every time. But to answer your question directly, I think that if you're very clear about what moderation guidelines you're going to use in your community, and Twitter's hard because it's decentralized. But if you, like on Facebook, if you say, hey, we're looking for feedback, or we would like for you to submit your ideas, here are the guidelines, and then anything that's really outside of these guidelines, we're going to reserve the right to remove because we're trying to have a productive conversation that's focused. So that would be my suggestion. And just with the crisis communication stuff, one of the things that we're learning is that it's all about speed. So kind of, if we can organize our efforts in the company to okay, if we see something on Twitter, because like the U.S. Airways, I'm forgetting the flight number now, but the one that ended up in the Hudson River, it was broken on Twitter. So it's being able to say, okay, something's going on, we're going to be able to get out all the information we can as quickly as possible, and that's going to be a big deal for companies in the future, especially airlines. So
now, think about from a crisis management perspective, Motor Moms. How many Motor people out there? Yeah. Everybody know the Motor Mom story? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Ultimately, imagine if Motor was on Twitter and was following their brand. They could have easily addressed it well before it blew up, and then they had to put a letter on their website for 4 weeks, 5 weeks, some ridiculous amount of time, and brought even more attention to it. So the key is being there and being responsive.
And I think back to the airline industry, of course, United and their guitar fiasco, I think there's something to be said for maybe nipping it in the bud, responding early as possible, getting out there in front of the story. How do you feel with, do you run into problems trying to deal with that, Elliot, when maybe the other brands of the company are saying, PR is saying whoa, communications is saying whoa? How do you manage that? Do you have processes in place for that? It never happens to Frank.
Well, actually, I wouldn't say we have processes in place, but we've actually, over the past 7 months, we have relationships in the company that have been developed, like with Brad. So we'll get, certain things will come in, and there'll be a flurry of phone calls, like, okay, who do I talk to about this, and it's very, I don't want to say it's ad hoc, but we're growing with Twitter and with Facebook and kind of being able to build those responses. So I think that the best thing we can do is just try to spot the issues as they occur and try to do our best to make it right, or reach out to the customer and say, hey, maybe if you tried this, or we see that you're having some issues, how can we? I think that social media is making it so that poor customer service is no longer an option. So whether or not you have a policy or procedure that says you won't cover a guitar for whatever reasons, I mean, obviously it's very hard to, you have to have liability, and you have to probably cap some things at some point, but if you really screw up, you probably need to, like Maria said, you need to own it, and you need to say, we screwed up, and then that's what people are going to respect a lot more, and that you're going to kind of kill the buzz and the bad conversation around your brand a lot faster.